Welcome to Driving.ca on this wonderful winter day. I'm Jay Canna, and behind me is the 2025 Acura TLX. In this video, we'll go through what the good parts are to the TLX and what parts might need some improvement. We'll get some baseline numbers down, we'll go for a drive in the snow, and we'll see if it has enough to compete in the luxury sedan performance segment. Let's start with some baseline numbers. So in the Type S that I have here, you get a 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine, 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque through a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it does have the Acura super handling all-wheel drive. If you want the A spec, that gets you a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 272 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque through the same 10-speed automatic transmission, and you still get Acura's super handling all-wheel drive. So let's go into what's new for 2025, which isn't much of anything because it's a carryover from 2024, and 2024 saw the nip and tuck refresh. So as far as the exterior, you have a revised front fascia, you have their new frameless diamond pentagon grille. On the inside, the infotainment system jumps up from 10.2 inches up to 12.3. Everybody gets wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. You get USB-C charging ports in the rear, a rear seatbelt reminder. The forward collision warning has a better object recognition sensor, and your blind spot monitoring system has an increased range of view. So little bits and pieces here, and the A spec, which is the regular version, has better sound deadening material, so it's a little quieter in the cabin, and the Type S gets improved throttle response. So again, small little things for a refresh for the 2024 carrying over into the 2025 model year. Let's quickly go through the highlights of the Type S versus the A spec. So with the Type S, you get 20-inch wheels, you get Brembo brakes, you get adaptive dampers, which play a big part in just how good the ride quality is here. You get quad exhaust finishers. You do not get fog lights, which is an interesting move. There's actually a ring here around the turn signal that would have been where the fog light controls were. That's for the A spec, not for this. You also get a 360-degree camera. You also get a 16-way power driver's seat as opposed to a 12-way one. Both the A spec and the Type S get a long list of standard safety features. Highlights of those include your blind spot monitoring, forward collision warning, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, adaptive high beams, and a few others. It is nice to see that even on the A spec, as opposed to the Type S, you're not sacrificing anything on the safety side of things. Let's dig into what the Acura TLX does exceptionally well, and over and above anything else, it is the drive quality, it is the drive feel. Yes, the Type S does have those adaptive dampers, and I really noticed them here. And the cool thing about their super handling all-wheel drive, it's an advanced all-wheel drive system. So here, you can send up to 70% of the torque to the rear wheels, and depending on how you're driving the vehicle, of that 70%, 100% can be sent to the outer wheel. So you really get that strong, planted, secure, and just very athletic feel here in the drive in the TLX. Now the A spec does drive well. I've driven it a bunch of times over the years, but there's just something about that extra bit of performance here in the Type S with the larger engine, with the more horsepower, more torque, and again, those adaptive dampers, whether you're just cruising on city streets and doing things in an urban environment, or you're on the highway, or you're on back roads like I am right now. The handling in the TLX is its absolute best feature, hands down. And yes, I know the Germans have excellent vehicles, and so does Genesis, but there's just something here about the TLX that makes it one of the front runners for the best drive feel in the luxury sedan segment. And whether I'm going around twists or turns, it's always planted. It's always doing exactly what I want it to do. There's minimal oversteer, there's minimal understeer, and the engineers at Acura have done such an outstanding job in really making this a driver's car over and above anything else. Let's touch on drive modes, and then I'll give you a bit of an audible example of just how good the Acura TLX Type S sounds. So there's a dial right in the middle, you can't miss it. So I'm in comfort now, I'm gonna go to normal, I'm gonna go to sport, I'm gonna hold it to the right, and get Sport Plus. You can hear it. Oh, that feels so good. It feels so good. And there's a little G meter that pops up on the right side of the digital instrument cluster. And it's just hugging the road now. It snowed for the past maybe half day, 3/4 of a day. So the roads are a little damp, and I'm not going excessively fast. I'm doing the speed limit. But I gotta say, it feels so good. It's planted, it's tight, and it's so responsive. Those people will live in normal or comfort mode, and that's fine. And I urge you to put it in sport, and even sport plus if you have the Type S, a little more than you usually would, because again, it's tuned so well and it reacts almost immediately. And again, it's the steering inputs are so accurate and lively, and I can't say enough good things about the drive feel here in the Acura TLX Type S. I'm in comfort right now, which is its most tame mode, and just going down a little bit and then going up. Again, it's so responsive. Yes, the Sport and Sport Plus give you that massive exclamation point, but you can still have a lot of fun in the more tame drive modes. Because this is a performance vehicle, I found a dirt road that's not very well plowed, and there are a couple of turns here. The adaptive dampers also play a really big role in the comfort and high quality of the ride here. So not everybody's going to be whipping this around turns all the time, but I'm going around a gradual turn now. I'm getting a little bit of speed to reach the speed limit, and again, you can see no slippage at all. There's no fishtailing. My back end really isn't doing anything except for what I tell it to do. There's a 90-degree turn coming up right now. I'm going to slow down, and yeah, you can see again, no slips, no skids, nothing at all. I told it to turn right, and the car did it perfectly. So again, the drive feel, drive quality is a solid 10 out of 10 here. Another good aspect to it for me is its unassuming looks. It's not bold, it's not flashy. Yes, it has a bit of an athletic look to it, but it's not overly designed. And it looks good, and it drives even better. Kind of like that wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. On the inside, the 17-speaker ELS audio system is top-notch, one of my favorites in the industry, and both the A-Spec and Type S get it. Contrasting that, and what may cause people to look the other way when they're looking for a performance sedan, is nearly everything else. The TLX has such an outdated interior, and yes, there's an infotainment system that's fully digital, also 12.3 inches, and you can pick from one of two different views, but everything else here is just showing its age so poorly. Yes, I like my hard touch buttons for my HVAC, but this design and layout has been the same way for far too many years. The gear selector being the same thing that you have in a Honda Odyssey is just a little mind-blowing to me. And I'm not going to go too long on the trackpad, but I think the only thing I will say is if some Acura models have already gotten rid of it, and if Lexus has gotten rid of it, and Lexus is known to be a brand to hang on to things for an extended period of time, I don't know why they didn't get rid of it in the mid-cycle refresh back in 2024. It's probably one of the most unappealing pieces here in the TLX. While the drive feel is one of the best in class, there's a long list of reasons for people to possibly look the other way in the performance sedan luxury market. Let's quickly run through pricing and competition. So for 2025, the A-Spec's MSRP in Canada is $54,990. The Type S, as far as MSRP goes, comes in at $65,240. There's a $10,250 difference here between the A-Spec and the Type S. Contrast that to 2024, the Type S is now $1,490 more, and the A-Spec is a little over $1,000 more. So yes, I know prices can go up each year. I don't know if this price increase will push more buyers the other way. On the competition side, there is the BMW M340, Mercedes has their C43, Lexus has their IS350, the Audi S4, the Genesis G70. So there's no shortage of choice here. But the big thing, as far as what I'm worried about, is the TLX already irrelevant. compared to everybody else who's put out something relatively new or had a significant refresh in the past few years. And again, going back to 2020, you could get 8 different TLXs. 2021 saw the debut of the Type S, and that trimmed it down also to only 5 options. 2023 had 3 trims, and now 2024/2025, you either get the A spec or you get the Type S. So it's a bit of a daunting world for Acura, and I don't know if they're going to discontinue it. I don't know if they're going to fully electrify it. Usually you get 3 years out of a mid-cycle refresh, so 24, 25, 26, it's hard to say, and Acura's not going to say anything. But if what Honda's doing is any example of what could happen to Acura, specifically the TLX, I hope there'll be some kind of electrification, because right now the CR-V's hybrid, and they have the Prologue, which is a partnership with GM, the Civic's hybrid. So I hope that something happens in a positive light to keep the TLX going, because it's a fantastic vehicle, but you know, it's a lot of speculation, and the auto industry can change on a dime at any given moment. If driving dynamics are at the top of your list, the Acura TLX checks a lot of boxes. It does it with such precision, such grace on all different types of road conditions, and even here in winter. And I gotta give a big shout out to that super handling all-wheel drive, one of the best systems in the modern market. Unfortunately, everywhere else, Acura is kind of falling behind. The interior is outdated. The infotainment system, still using that trackpad, really isn't all that great when you have such advanced systems and competitors. I do hope there's a future for the TLX in some way, shape, or form, because it'd be a real shame to lose a vehicle that has such astounding driving dynamics. If you have any questions on the 2025 Acura TLX, let us know in the comments. We are always happy to engage in respectful conversation. We invite you to join our social media platforms, specifically TikTok and YouTube. And for more news, reviews, and information you can use on performance luxury sedans, visit our website, which is Driving.ca. For Driving.ca, I'm Jay Canna.